You might think that the loudest fragrances or the beast mode, nuclear mode projecting perfumes are the ones that are getting noticed and will get you compliments. Wrong. Beast mode fragrances are usually the ones that gets ignored and do not garner compliments. People do notice that you're wearing a fragrance, but they just completely ignore you. You know why? Because most of the time, beast mode perfumes are the ones that are actually inducing the headache, both to the person wearing it and to the people around, because it kind of starts choking people out. You know what that gets the most amount of compliments? The perfumes which are subtle, perfumes that do not shout, announces, gets noticed, but is not shouting on top of their voice. Perfumes that are unusual yet pleasant, perfumes that are classy. That are the perfumes that will get noticed and will get you compliments. And in this video, I'm going to share 4 of the perfumes, all under 3000 rupees. And the last one is actually my personal favorite. So let's go. The first perfume that I'm going to recommend to you comes at a price tag of 1500 rupees for a 50 ml. And I have already mentioned this perfume before. I'm doing it again. This is Sniff and Smell's Loop Walk. This is basically a perfume that tries to replicate the smell of Tonic Verte number 8 from Kosmala. I haven't tried any other inspired version for that particular blend, and I have only tried Sniff and Smell's one, and I'm pleasantly surprised by how good the smell is. I mean, okay, there are Creed Aventers, there are, Sidrut Boise and all those perfumes which are absolutely wonderful. But this takes the citruses and oakmoss combination to the next level. I think this is a much more, richer version or a richer friend to the Creed Aventers DNA. There is no smoky birch over here. Rather, this is mostly oakmossy and a bit musky, but it has got the clean citruses up top. And the perfume feels very refreshing, to be honest. This is that perfume which, if in case you wear, will give you a very clean aura around you. A subtle, clean aura that projects very moderately but do garner compliments and gets noticed. The perfume is very, very, very well blended. And at 1500 rupees for a 50 ml, I think you cannot go wrong with this one if in case you are a fan of clean citrus and oak moss heavy fragrances. In terms of the performance, this is, as I said, around 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes. This is going to project in a moderate way, and the longevity is around 6 hours when applied on the clothes. Absolutely wonderful. One of my favorite when it comes to the citruses blend. Sniff and Smell Loop Walk. Do definitely check this out, okay? Now, perfume number 2 comes from the house of Fusion by Rizwan. Yes, you heard me right. And their blend is E extract. I mean, there are A, B, C, D, E. This is version E. And this is basically trying to clone Roja Danger. And that's a barbershop fragrance in a way. And vetiver heavy and spices all together. It's a pretty masculine fragrance. This one was a chypre fragrance, okay? While this one is kind of a spicy barbershop DNA. And what Rizwan did over here is absolutely stunning. But there is some caveats to the perfume I'm going to talk about. So Rizwan is basically known for selling perfumes at 500, 600, 700 range. All of a sudden, he planned on going ultra premium as per his price segment, okay? Because from 500, he is jumping to a territory of like 2000 rupees, which is like 4 times, okay? But in terms of the entire smell, did he deliver? Smell-wise, he did. Packaging-wise, he sucked. I mean, a plastic cap on a 2000 rupee perfume, I am not a big fan of. The stickering, it's a decent job done. I'm nitpicking on the packaging because, see, I have closely worked with Rizwan in creating 2 blends, Lux Tobacco and Lux Duality, and that is the reason this brand is pretty near and dear to me. So when I see this brand is doing something new, I am usually the one who's critiquing it because I want him to grow and take lessons from this as well. What he did with the blend is immensely good. Roja Danger is a very expensive perfume. 35,000 rupees is the pricing of that particular perfume. At 2000 rupees, what are you expecting? Although 50 ml, so per 100 ml, that's going to be around 4000 still. What are you expecting the perfume to be? This lives up to all the expectations that you might have with the perfume and delivers bang on. Around 80% of the DNA is pretty well captured, but I don't think most of the people are covering this up. Even Rizwan, I don't think has, covered it. But what I personally feel is at this point in time, the perfume is performing well and the perfume is projecting moderately as well. Around hour to 1 hour 15 minutes, this is projecting in a moderate way, and the longevity is around 5 to 6 hours. But what I personally feel is if allowed and the perfume matures for another 2 to 3 months, I think this will turn up to be much, much, much better. I feel with proper maturation, the perfume is going to be better in the performance than what it's already delivering. And the blend is top notch and zero alcoholic blast. And if in case you want to know how it smells like, imagine a very spicy, very less sweet barbershop DNA with lavender, sage, all those, the typical barbershop ingredients that you see. But over here, add a strong note of vetiver as well, because this has got a very earthy character baked into the perfume. And I absolutely love it. So that's Fusion E or Roja Danger inspired version coming from the House of Fusion by Rizwan at 2000 rupees. That's going to get you immense compliments if worn in a proper condition. Okay. Now let's move up a bit more into the pricing category, but the final one, my favorite, which is going to come to after this. Okay. At 2500 rupees, you're going to get this one. This comes from the House of India Perfumers, and this is Inspiration. All of a sudden, why am I talking about this particular perfume? See, I've already made 2 videos on the DNA of Louis Vuitton Imagination, and several of the clones out there have outpassed this one when it comes to the inspiration or the cloning part. But what India Perfumers has done with this particular perfume is something that I became a fan of. Instead of focusing on the citruses that you have in the Louis Vuitton's Imagination, they focused more on the florals. Because this perfume houses using natural compounds more than the others, around 50% of their entire composition is made with natural absolutes. So the florals used over here are very photorealistic. The entire floral segment of this particular perfume is just top notch. So what it does is it kind of amps up the florals instead of the citruses and then transitions into the tea note or the black tea note. So what you're getting is an inspired version or a twist in the DNA of Imagination from Louis Vuitton, but rather than starting with the citruses, it kind of starts with the florals. And the entire journey is pretty good and very sophisticated, very high quality, very upscale. And it gives a very luxurious vibe, not the typical Imagination DNA that you would be expecting like the other houses are doing. So that's the reason when I wore it to the office, people were asking me, what are you wearing, which is so unusually floral, because the element of tea kind of added a bit of depth into the florals and the citruses are in the back end. Because over here, you know what happens when citruses are at the top note, they kind of evaporate very quickly and what you're left behind is with the base notes. Over here, the citruses kind of bakes in with the florals and kind of creates an amalgamation which kind of stays at the back end and kind of gives a backbone to the entire perfume. And it's truly incredible. Performance wise, this is going to project for an hour to max maybe 1 hour 15 minutes. So just realistically say an hour this is going to project, and the overall longevity is around 5.5 to 6.5 hours depending on the scenario. If in case you're in a controlled AC environment, 6.5 hours, but if in case you're outdoors, after 4 to 4.5 hours this perfume will be gone, because the compounds which makes the perfume project like crazy, like galaxy lights and other fixatives, it's not used over here. And that is the reason this is very pleasant to the nose, but kind of misses out on that beast mode part of the projection. But that is the beauty about this particular perfume. So if in case you're looking for a natural smelling perfume inspired by the DNA of Louis Vuitton's Imagination, you can definitely check Inspiration from India Perfumers. Now, let's talk about the 4th perfume and my personal favorite coming from the House of Fragrance World. It's called Varak Gold. I mean, I fell in love with this perfume. If in case you're a oud lover, you know how animalic skanky oud can be, how challenging and how barnyard-like smell oud can give. It's a very dense, resinous perfume, right? What if you blended it in such an interesting way that the oud becomes pleasurable? Imagine mixing a subtle hint of oud mixed with vanilla and spices. There is some sweetness, but not much. There is some oudi character, but not much. And then there is spices, which adds the backbone to the entire DNA. And this is Varak Gold. This perfume is basically an inspiration in the DNA of Paco Rabbane 1 million oud. And what a beautiful perfume this is. Any kind of setup during the evening where you want something to add a mysterious layer to your entire aura, wear this. Because this is unusually, unapologetically different yet pleasant. And I mean, all the perfumes over here does the same, but this one is my personal favorite because in terms of the longevity, this can stretch easily 6 to 7 hours when applied on the clothes. And the projection is around 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes, but in a moderate way. And the perfume is not choking anybody around you. That's the best part about this particular perfume. And Varak Gold, if in case you want some designer level stuff, but at the fraction of a cost, get this one or get any of these one and you will not be disappointed. By the way, before you leave, I have got one request. I have started a new channel from scratch, Scent Saga Clips. And from zero, I am trying to grow that channel into a bigger number. And without your help, that is not possible. What that channel is offering is bite-sized content, something which takes less than 10 minutes to say, a perfume thought, a quick review, anything which do not go into this main channel because this channel is all about long form content. Anything that goes into short form will be going into Scent Saga Clips. And all I want is your support to make that channel grow as well and make it as successful as Scent Saga main channel. Okay. So that's going to be my take for the day. I want you to get into the comment section. Let me know what you feel about the content. If there is anything that I missed, anything that I should include, any other topic that I should talk about, and I will read every single comment and try to respond to every single one of them. So with that, this is Deep signing off. I'll see you on the next one very soon. Bye-bye.